Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. My email is still tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am still tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we're discussing the Patek Philippe Perpetual Calendar Chronograph 5970G-001, 40 millimeters in diameter in white gold. This is a watch that was part of a series launched in 2004 and discontinued in 2010. The 5970 built through those years in quantities of approximately 2,800 when all of the metals and all of the dials are combined. So with 2,800 of all descriptions in the world, any variant of this watch is exceptionally rare. Now, the timepiece you see here was sold in 2006 to give you a ballpark estimate of its age. Taking a quick look at the profile, it is 40 in diameter, but only 13.1 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 46.3 millimeters with a surprisingly forward-looking 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs that gives it a modern, broad stance on the wrist. Now you can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it's bigger than the 3970, but it's not quite as big as the 5270. So it's a tweener size-wise between its predecessor and its successor. Now taking a look, you can see that because of the slope of the case flank and the concave bezel profile, it will fit underneath the cuff over the top, which always exaggerates the width of a watch. You can see that it's not over the edge of my wrist. The best angle is always down the barrel, where you can see that the lugs really are quite a good deal inboard of the edge of my wrist. I recommend it for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. Again, mine is 16 for reference. Taking a look at the strap, you can see medium rectangular scale alligator leather, gloss finish, dark brown. We have a monotone stitch. We have a folded edge, calfskin on the bottom, no crimping, no gouging. Patek Philippe factory strap. Look carefully, you can see little pull tab spring bars that allow you to pop the strap off the case with nothing more than a fingernail. And we have here in white gold a matching clasp, single fold with the Calatrava cross external. That is the symbol of Patek Philippe. Taking a quick look at the case, impressive with stepped lugs and a multifaceted bezel. You can see it has that flat facet on its top, a concave profile that makes up most of its surface area, and then a very small vertical lip which is inset from the dramatically rounded case flank. You can also see the case back is inset considerably, so the watch looks a lot thinner than it is on the wrist. The integration of that sharp break of lug and case is deeply impressive, and then you can see everything here is polished white gold. We have that Calatrava cross again on the crown and rectangular profile chronograph pushers. Now, there are little adjusters on the flank to adjust the perpetual calendar, and it is a perpetual calendar, which means you don't need to reset it until the year 2100. So leap years and irregular length months, this watch has that covered. The crystal has a little bit of a box profile with some camber across its top. We have white gold blackened indices and hands. We have a silver dial, opaline as Patek Philippe would call it, although there's a little bit of a vertical satination distinct. It's not a radial sunburst, and it's not quite as dramatically brushed top to bottom as something like 5235G, but while this is described as opaline, it does have a genuine, tangible top-to-bottom grain, whereas a pure opaline generally has a lightly frosted or finely media-blasted type of profile. This is between that and a brushed profile. Outboard, we have a tachymeter, and in vintage fashion, it's on the dial rather than the bezel. When you stop the chronograph and reset, you can use the tachymeter to gauge the speed of an object, such as a race car over a kilometer. That's always the classic example. We have a moon phase coaxial with a date down at 6 o'clock, and because this is a perpetual calendar, the moon phase actually has longer endurance than the rest of the calendar. It only needs to be reset 122 years from the last time it was set. Now we have coaxial indicators on the other registers, running seconds, as well as a 24-hour scale over at 9 o'clock. And then over at 3 o'clock, we have our chronograph minutes and a leap year phase indicator. Now the 24-hour scale is there. So for example, you know whether you're looking at 4 p.m. or 4 a.m. So now you see how I've turned to 6. Well, is this 6 p.m. or is it 6 a.m.? You can see that little stub indicator is at 18, so it's 6 p.m. What you want to make sure is that during the nighttime hours after dark, you don't try to use any of these little correctors to adjust the calendar. If you have to make calendar adjustments at night, you want to roll the hour hand through midnight and then down past 4 a.m. before you attempt to make any changes. The pusher adjusters are only for use during daylight hours. For safety's sake, let's say between 4 a.m. and 8 p.m. Now, the Perpetual calendar is driven by a base caliber known as the CH2770. This is based on the Lemania 2310, albeit highly modified by Patek Philippe. It is a column wheel lateral clutch chronograph with the Geneva hallmark, which you can see on the balance cock. It beats away at, just a little eyelash out of there, beats away at 18,000 vibrations per hour. It has a free-sprung Patek Philippe Gyromax style balance for greater precision of setting the timing and greater durability against shock. It also has a handmade Breguet style overcoil hairspring, so in any position the watch keeps very consistent time. It pivots on 24 joules. It has a 60-hour power reserve. It's been adjusted in 6 positions as well as to heat and temperature, which is very impressive, and the column wheel feel is excellent. You can also see that in Geneva fashion, this is a capped column wheel, so it doesn't immediately jump out at you as a column wheel. However, that is exactly what it is. Now, the watch is equipped with a screwed-in case back, 30-meter water resistance. You don't want to take it swimming, but it's beautifully finished, as you can see, the way a dress complication should be. Mirrored anglage on the edge of both brass components and steel chronograph parts. We have beveling inside the jewel and screw sinks, all screw heads black polished with chamfered slots and circumference. We have Cote de Genève on those brass bridges, though they're few in number, they're well done. And you can see how the steel parts are satinated on their tops and then beveled on their edges. Deeply impressive, with an attention to detail surpassing and commensurate to the reputation of Patek Philippe. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.